What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So let's start this video with 12 weeks of physique update of Rafael Brandao. So the time to cut down calories and add more cardio, that is finally here. Because both Rafael Brandao and his coach Neil Hill, they were pushing a lot of food because they were pushing for more size up until this point. So yesterday Rafael was weighing in the high 280s, and that is a good weight for the starting point of his Olympia prep. And this does make sense. Because in order for Rafael Brandao to be guys like Hunter Labrada or Nick Walker, he still needs more size, he still needs more density. And that was quite evident when he stood next to a guy like Samson Dauda at the Arnold Classic Ohio. So he might be in a better condition than Samson, but the size difference between these two guys, that was clear as a day. And everyone could see that there was still a lot of size difference between Rafael Brandao and Samson Dauda. And that is why when all these other top guys, they already started their prep earlier, Rafael waited all the way until 12 weeks out to start pulling down. Now Rafael is a phenomenal athlete, in a sense that he has an incredibly beautiful physique. He has probably one of the best aesthetics out there. He has no missing body parts. And this off-season, that has been mostly dedicated to putting on more size, more back thickness. So whenever the Olympia top 10 discussion is brought up, Rafael Brandao will certainly be mentioned. Because the thing is, he was top 10 in a much more deeper lineup back at the Olympia 2022, and that was only his Olympia debut. So this is a bigger, much more improved version of Brandao. Hopefully he won't miss his mark in terms of conditioning, that way he did for the Arnold Classic Brazil. So his Ohio package, with a little more size, that will certainly be pushing for those 7 to 10 spots. Next up we have a little sneak peek of Sergio Oliva Jr. So not looking as huge as he normally does, and there is a reason for that, because he has been taking care of some injuries that he suffered from earlier this year. So the workouts haven't been as heavy, they haven't been as intense as they normally are for Sergio, and that is why we can see that drop in size. So will we ever see Sergio Oliva Jr. back on the bodybuilding stage? So judging by the way he looks right now, this is a guarantee that we won't see him on the stage this year. Maybe he will make a comeback next year. So that guy is going to be turning 40 years old in October, and we all know it gets harder and harder for most of the guys when they reach that 40 years old mark. So it's kinda sad that we did not get to see the final product, his final look this year with a new team around him, because this was the first time he was working with a new coach like Neil Hill, and not to mention he was being trained by 6 times Miss Olympia champion, one of the greatest of all time, Dorian Yates, who was pushing him for months on end. And the thing is, he was looking all good until that injury happened. So with all this incredible new talent and all these new guys coming up who are a lot hungrier, and the fact is they're improving at such a fast pace, I think this is going to be very difficult. Whenever Sergio plans to step back on the stage, it isn't going to be easy, and he might even struggle to qualify for the Olympia. Next up we have a 12 weeks of physique update of Detroit Pro champion Martin Fitzwater. So the prep for his first ever Miss Olympia started at 16 weeks out, and the man is crushing it every day. So his look at this year's New York Pro, that was easily the best physique that was presented by Martin Fitzwater on the stage. And the thing is, we talk about all these numbers on how many pounds someone can put on, or someone did put on during the off-season. But surprisingly, in the case of Martin, he actually weighed less at the New York Pro, where he gave Nick Walker a very serious run for his money, compared to what he weighed on the stage at Texas Pro 2022. But the thing is, he appeared much more bigger, more rounder, way more aesthetic and way more complete this time. So the way Martin was able to beat Tonio Burton with so much ease at this year's New York Pro, and Tonio was top 10 in the world last year, Martin for sure is going to be looking to place in the top 10 at his Olympia debut, which is going to be one hell of an accomplishment. Plus the guy is just 27 years old, and he has such a long career ahead of him. He has so much time on his hand. So the feedback that he got from the judges after this year's New York Pro, that was to bring up his arms and his chest. And that is what Martin has been working on all this time. So will Martin be able to shock the bodybuilding world just the way he did at this year's New York Pro, at his Olympia debut in October? Can he get into that first call out and place as high as top 6? Well, I have to say that looks tough. But Martin is very confident, and that is what he's aiming for. Next up is the off-season physique update of Blessing Afodibu. So Blessing made the right decision when he decided that he isn't going to be competing this year. He is going to skip this year's bodybuilding season, as he desperately needed to build up more size on his quads. I believe his last show was Flex Pro Italy, and unlike Chicago Pro, where Blessing prepped himself for that one, and he wasn't in a contest-ready condition for that show, but for Flex Pro Italy, Blessing was in a superb shape, But the thing is, his quads deflated like crazy when he dropped the water. When it was time to step on stage, he lost so much volume on his legs. So Blessing was aiming for the win in Italy against guys like Nathan Diesha and Regan Grimes. But he ended up placing 5th, which wasn't what he was looking for, and that isn't what his fans expected. So ever since that show, Blessing has been focused on putting on more size, more density, and he has been going through an improvement phase. And he doesn't intend to compete until he is confident that he can win his show and step on Miss Olympia stage again. So Blessing made his Olympia debut back in 2022, and 2022 as a whole was a great year for him. He was able to win 2 shows back to back, Indie Pro and then your Pro. But things are very different in 2024. The competition is getting better and better with every passing year, and Blessing needs to evolve, and he needs to evolve very fast. Because at his last show, when he was in a very good condition, he lost to guys like Xiaoming Yan or Zhang Lian, and Roman Fritz was also able to beat him at that show. And these guys aren't considered big names, especially for the Olympia level. So Blessing really needs to do something about his legs. The legend that you guys are watching right now, that is a 62 years old man, and he was known as the Shadow when he was at the peak of his bodybuilding career. And what an incredible physique during years is showcasing here at 62 years of age. So if you guys watch closely, he's pulling that entire stack for lat pull downs, which is incredible strength. That is just insane. So Dorian Yates' back is considered one of the all-time best, and he's still super strong in that aspect. So with the way Dorian is looking right now, it seems like that the man still follows clean eating. He still follows a bodybuilder's lifestyle, because he looks so lean right now. So Dorian Yates is actually one of those guys who was forced to retire from competitive bodybuilding. And that happened after winning his last Miss Olympia, and arguably one of the most controversial Miss Olympia in 1997. And maybe that is the reason that year 1998 is considered one of the best years in the bodybuilding history, because everyone brought their A game, as we did not have a defining champion that year. And then started the era of the greatest of all time, Ronnie Coleman, which lasted for 8 years. So as fans, we always wonder, how would that Ronnie have done against Dorian Yates if he did not retire in 1997? And that happened because of multiple injuries. I guess we will never know. So Dorian Yates is an absolute legend of the sport. The 90s is considered the pinnacle of bodybuilding, and there is a reason everyone calls it the golden era. And to fend off that kind of competition for 6 years straight, when we saw so many awesome physiques on the bodybuilding stage, that is just unbelievable. The reaction of Muhammad Fadal after getting a muffin represents all of us who have ever dieted really hard for any kind of competition. That first taste of real sugar, that hits you really damn hard. I'm sure all of you guys who have competed, they can totally relate to this one. So we are now less than 10 hours out of this year's Chicago Pro, so stay tuned.
ليه مش كبيرة؟ المدرب قال لي كل مافن قال لي واحدة بس. أنا بسمع كلامك.
And also hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video. And smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.